100, 2 out of 100 have a life-threatening problem that does need to go to the operating room and get flown to a more critical hospital. Without this hospital here, they would not get that care. People will sincerely die if this hospital is not here. There's not a question in my mind.
Somebody having a heart attack in an ambulance is extremely life-threatening, especially if they don't have like an ALS provider on board to start IV, give cardiac meds, evaluate the EKG and the monitor. Then you're looking at a very, very poor outcome for this person who now has to wait 30 minutes to get treatment.
I believe that it's important to keep it open. I've been here 25 years this week, and this is like my family. We have seen many people come in that have been, they wouldn't be here today if we weren't here. We've had cardiac arrests here. We've had people with all kinds of medical problems that we were able to stabilize and transfer to another facility, but without being here, they wouldn't be alive today. And I'm just thankful to be here, and I really hope that we can stay.
If the emergency room was to close, I don't want to think about the numbers of deaths that could happen because it would be a tragic number.
If Westfield Memorial ER Hospital ER would have closed, it very well will cost lives because they can easily stabilize that patient and make the ABCs of the patient, which airway, breathing, and circulation, and they can stop that bleeding and get their airways open. But if they have to travel from here all the way up to Buffalo or to Erie, that's a long ways.
We're isolated in many ways. Where else do we have to go except Westfield?
You know, you just never know when you're going to need an emergency room. And you need to have it there available for you 24/7. Because if this emergency room closes, people will die.
Cummings engine, door 32, female subject unconscious. 1546, case 909.
As a school nurse, I'm very concerned about the negative impact that closing the Westfield Hospital emergency room will have on the students, staff, and visitors at this school. The total population in the 7 school districts that are impacted because of geographic location by Westfield Hospital's emergency room closing are 5,100 students. Every day, the parents of these 5,100 students send their children off to school, place them in the care of the school for 7 to 8 and sometimes even longer hours a day. Chautauqua Lake School has a student population of about 900 students. They come to school, they play on the playgrounds, they perform physical activities throughout the school day. They're riding the buses to and from school, which is a risk, especially in inclement weather conditions that we have in this area. Playgrounds are historically known to be areas of high injury. Children sustain falls, concussions, injury to limbs. Many of the activities that go on during the school day place the student at risk for injury. Students here at Chautauqua Lake School compete in 14 different sporting events throughout the year. Many of these are classified as contact sports, which again have a high incidence of injuries that can be life-threatening. We send, and over the past several years have sent dozens to the emergency room. Time was a critical element in all of these emergencies. I can tell you right now that the cost of not having that emergency room service available is going to come at a great cost to the people of the school, the students, the staff, the visitors, the spectators, and the residents of this community.
In the Chautauqua institution properties, in the summertime in particular, there is such a growth in the population, and particularly of elderly people. And our call rate for the Chautauqua Fire Department, and then relative to others who assist us or who take our place when we are busy, is greatly elevated during the months of July and August. And during those times, the people who would be normally expecting to receive the kind of attention that they get now will be greatly disappointed. There is going to be a far longer transport time if it is necessary to always transport to Jamestown or to another facility in Dunkirk or Fredonia, or perhaps as far away as Erie County to Buffalo or Erie, Pennsylvania, and that simply would not be good.
Our population explodes during the summertime, and we are, for all practical purposes, a small city ambulance service at that time. A small corps of volunteers, supplemented with paramedics in the summertime, have got to handle that load, and to increase the time of every call and the run time by having to go to Jamestown or further, or even to Brooks, I suppose, is really going to delay the service. It's just one ambulance running.
With our elderly population year-round, we will have longer transport time, so we will probably have a higher death rate just because it'll take that much longer to get people to a better, higher level of care than we offer in our ambulance. We are, for the most part, offering basic or paramedic level care here, and they won't get to more detailed life-saving interventions, particularly people like stroke victims, of which the elderly are more common. You're really looking at probably some higher rates of fatalities.
The majority of the people that live here are elderly people, and elderly people need the ambulance more than younger people for the most part. I just can't see closing Westfield Hospital. It's a 20-minute round trip from here to Westfield, guns blazing, as you would say, with the lights and siren going. It's a lot closer. It's a fine hospital. They will ship you out to a bigger hospital if they get you stabilized.
If the Westfield Memorial Hospital emergency room is closed down, people will lose their lives because they're not going to get the care they need in the time they need. During the wintertime, weather conditions you can't go as fast as you need to sometimes. Sometimes in the wintertime here, you'd have to go 25 miles an hour all the way to the hospital, if it's depending on the conditions. And that would really pose a threat to lives if we have to go all the way to Jamestown at 25 miles an hour.
We have Amish people that live in our district. What are they going to do? They've got, and they're a big Amish community over towards Westfield. And it's just, they would have to go to Dunkirk, which would be another 45 minutes for them. There again, Westfield Hospital saves lives.
I pulled out to this intersection. Big bush was there. I didn't see the tractor trailer, and he ran into me. I went over top of it, and I landed on the right side of it. I finally landed the bike. I was turning left after I hit the truck, and I laid the bike down, and it crashed. Ambulance come right away, and they picked me up and took me to the emergency room, and then they called for the helicopter. Then they flew me off to Erie. They stabilized me in the hospital. That ER wasn't there. They couldn't never stabilize me. And then it would be a lot longer to go to another emergency room.
If they shut the emergency room at Westfield Memorial Hospital, it will have a great effect on our response to emergency calls. Number one, because of the travel distance to the other area hospitals that we'd have to use, there would be a great difference in the loss of life because of the time involved. And also we have members that would not be able to respond because they would not be able to commit to the time, because it's much longer to go to the other area hospitals than Westfield. And our rig would be out of service at a longer period of time.
We're volunteer, we're not paid, we leave work, we lose money.
It's going to have an effect for the people who run the ambulance. My husband and I are both EMTs, and as self-employed people, you'll be asking us to give up an even greater amount of time, and we might not be able to make that choice every